Well, it was a quiet day at Hallis Hall, according to Cream Sleeve, until 7 tryouts were held at Hallis Hall on December 9th, 2025, including 2 wide receivers, 2 defensive tackles, 2 defensive backs, and 1 quarterback who is a former Packer. I'm going to go through all the news right now, but before I get more into today's show, hit that like button if you still believe in Ben Johnson. And along with that too, are you excited for this upcoming matchup against the Cleveland Browns? Comment Y for yes or N for no. And if you like, comment, and subscribe, you enter to win an autographed Colson Level mini helmet. And if you hit all notifications, you get an extra entry. Will be announced on Monday. Let's get into it, folks. 7 players were at Hallis Hall on December 9th, 2025. A very cold day here in Chicago, but the Bears bring in a lot of guys for 2 open practice squad spots and could be indicating that were there some injuries? Were there some people that you need to consider? Well, let's go through it. Brad Biggs of the Chicago Tribune tweeted out the Chicago Bears had 7 players in for a tryout today with 2 spots open on the practice squad. Wide receivers Haquan Jackson and Deontay Mayers, and then nose tackles Keandre Coburn and Isaiah Raikes. Defensive backs Joshua Bledsoe and Darrick Forest, and wide receiver Taylor Elgersma. I'm going to probably get some grief for that one, but hey, listen, I did a pretty good job. Ron S., you got to give me a grade on that one. So anyway, lots of folks come into Hallis Hall ahead of this matchup against the Cleveland Browns, which I like that the Bears are being aggressive because everyone that they brought in can do multiple things. And let's start off with Haquan Jackson, wide receiver who was drafted by the Tennessee Titans last year, played his ball at Tulane during his college career, and he is a very athletic wide receiver, but also a good punt and kick returner, which I don't know if you guys saw, but Joshua Blackwell did come up a little shaken up on one of those punt returns, hoping he's okay. I'll check in on him, shoot him a text later this week. But this could be a precaution if Blackwell can't go. So the Bears bring Jackson in, a 5'9", 188-pound wide receiver / kick returner. He is only 25 years old. He did have a slight stint with the Tennessee Titans last year, but he attended Tulane and was 182nd overall pick in 24 by Tennessee. Let's go a little bit more into him, what he did during his final season at Tulane. 26 receptions, 35 targets, but check this out. 16.9 yards per catch, 4 receiving touchdowns, and yes, 439 receiving yards. So that yard after catch is big, and he's also a very strong kick returner, which he averaged over 28 yards per return. Bears have struggled in this category a little bit to get up there. Along with that, too, again, Joshua Blackwell looked like he got shook up a little bit. So the Bears could be keeping an eye on monitoring the situation, but bringing in a guy who can clearly bring the experience. Let's go into the next one. Same exact situation. Deontay Mayers, who is a wide receiver who played in the Canadian League this past season. He comes with a lot of speed and a lot of ability. 5'10", 190 pounds, 25 years old, went to Delta State and was an undrafted rookie free agent. Check out these guys' numbers, though. This past year in the Canadian Football League, 65 receptions off 85 targets, 16.2 yards per catch, 8 receiving touchdowns, and over 1,000 receiving yards. This guy can rake it in, clearly has speed, and a very, very dangerous guy as well. Along with that, too, during his time, he was a kick returner, and when he did return kicks, he averaged 29 yards per return. Fast, athletic, can get downfield, and that's something that the Bears special teams have struggled with this year, especially getting us in good field position. So good to see that the Bears are being active here, and I can see why they brought him in, so we'll see if they end up signing him. Guys, before we get more into today's show, I am getting closer and closer to the next goal of 41,700 subscribers. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe to enter to win that Colson Level mini helmet, but also help support the channel and stay up to date now Chicago Bears news. Let's get into the defensive tackles that the Bears brought in, because they brought in 2 of them, and they are both nose tackles. So what Grady Jarrett, Andrew Billings, Trevon Dexter, and Chris Williams stand out. Starting off with Keandre Coburn, a veteran defensive tackle who is a Super Bowl champion, by the way, and with the Kansas City Chiefs, and has recently played with the Tennessee Titans. So going through him, 6'2", 322 pounds. This guy packs a punch, 25 years old, attended Texas, and he was the 194th overall pick in 23 by the Kansas City Chiefs, where he did win a Super Bowl. Now, going a little bit more into him, in his career, 14 total tackles, 7 of them solo, and 1 tackle for loss. He has gotten a lot more playing time during his time with the Titans, and unfortunately hasn't gotten been an opportunity this season so far. But he is a Super Bowl champ, so he knows what a locker room is. He knows that Chiefs team. He's shown he can play in the NFL. So an instant plug and play, has good size, could be a good player overall that the Bears bring in to fill in and have an extra defensive tackle on the roster. Now, Isaiah Raikes, veteran defensive tackle as well. He went actually and played at Texas A&M, where he knows Bears he was the Bears' 4th pick in this past draft in defensive tackles from our Turner. So these two played together, and he stands at 6'1", 320 pounds, 22 years old. So he has 1 year under his belt, and he went to Texas A&M. During his time at Texas A&M, 15 total tackles, 13 of them being solo, 1 pass deflection with 2 tackles for loss. This guy knows Turner, was probably scouted at the same time by the Bears, said, hey, we know him. We know he has something here, just good camp and body to have on the roster in case of any injuries. So see why the Bears brought him in. I'm not complaining about it. Big defensive tackle up the middle. So good to see that they're being aggressive about it. Going over to the defensive back room right now for the Chicago Bears, you got Joshua Bledsoe, a veteran defensive back with in-game experience who played for the Patriots. Very fast, athletic defensive back, standing at 5'11", 207 pounds. So he packs a pretty good punch. 26 years old, attended Mizzou, and was the 188th overall pick in 2021 by the New England Patriots. Going a little bit more into his playing days, he has mainly been a gunner on special teams, where he's only had 2 total tackles in his career. That being said, he's played in 5 total games. He has not played any defensive snaps, but during his time at Mizzou, he was a very sought-after player with over 15 pass deflections and, along with that, 2 multiple interceptions. But a strong special teamer. Like I said, if Blackwell is dealing with an injury, I don't know that for sure. I saw against the Packers, kind of grabbed that wrist for a second. I could be totally wrong, but you can never have too many special teams guy on this roster. Now, this one is the guy with the most experience, veteran defensive back, Darrick Forest. Yes, Darrick. If it's Derek, my bad. But that's how it says with the A and the R. So anyway, going into Forest, 5'11", 200 pounds, 26 years old, attended Cincinnati, and was 163rd overall pick in 21 by the Washington Commanders. He has some pretty good stats, 137 total tackles, 84 solo with 4 interceptions, 9 pass deflections with 1 tackle for loss, 2 forced fumbles, and 1 fumble recovery. Here's the thing. In 2022, his second season in the NFL, 88 total tackles, 8 pass deflections, and 4 interceptions. Wasn't a Pro Bowler. Shocked this guy isn't on a roster, to be honest. But a good player overall that you bring in. I mean, he is definitely someone that could get called up to the active roster with Kyler Gordon potentially out at the moment, which according to not Greg Braggs. What's up, Greg? Nice to see you. Brad Biggs, he said that there could be a possibility we don't see Kyler Gordon for the rest of the year. We're going to break that all down tomorrow morning, depending on how this story goes. But 88 total tackles, 4 interceptions, 22 back in 2022. Good player overall. Happy to see the Bears bring him in because I think that he could do something for this roster, actually, with how fast he is. Playing ability is there, and proven stats as well. And then the name that I struggled with the most, Taylor Elgersma, veteran quarterback, who played for the Packers, was part of their practice squad, from Canada. This guy is like the Tyson Bagent of Canada when it comes from a stats perspective. He's a big guy, too. I mean, if you look at him, 6'5", 227 pounds, 25 years old, did play on the Packers practice squad for 1 year, went to Lure up in Canada, and he had himself quite a season. But why we brought him in, he knows these Packers. He knows that Matt LaFleur offense. He knows the weaknesses. He's seen it himself. Maybe a little insider information. I don't know. I'm not putting that on the guy. That being said, it seems like teams usually do this with certain types of players. So they bring in the big Canadian quarterback, and his stats, pretty darn impressive to say the least. Going through it real quick. Back in his final season in college, 293 completions off 397 attempts. Over 4,200 passing yards, a 74% completion percentage with an 81-yard long, 35 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. What makes him so dangerous? Again, he knows this Packers team. Just putting that out there. Could be an interesting situation for the Bears here, but we'll see what ends up happening overall if they bring in who they bring in, because they do have 2 practice squad spots open. Again, this happens because of Carl Jones Jr. no longer be on the team. But guys, with that, thank you as always for tuning into this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. If you haven't already, please go like, comment, and subscribe to enter to win that Colson level mini helmet. But with that, thank you as always for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rody, and as always, bear it out, baby.